Language standards and standard language are two topics which have triggered a lot of debate not only among linguists but also non linguists. Why are non linguists interested in these two topics is because language is not something that only affects or interests scholars and researchers and linguists, but ordinary people who use language on everyday basis are equally affected by a language or are interested in a language. Language standards are described by Jennifer Jenkins in her book on world Englishes as the reverse side of the standard language coin. As a standard language means a language or the variety of a language which is the norm, the language standards are prescriptive language rules which constitute the standard. So these rules, which are quite a few, which are in fact are many in number, together they constitute the standard for a language. These rules pertain to different areas of linguistics, for example, grammar, vocabulary, sound, etc. So all these prescriptive language rules, prescriptive, we call them prescriptive because they are described, they are already recommended for the user, they have already been identified for the user to be used. These language standards are formally taught, and the expectation from the learners is that they would conform to these standards. And this expectation of confirmation is not only of the learners who learn English as a foreign or a second language, but native speaker users of English or any language are also expected to completely conform to these prescribed rules. However, these rules may change over time, no matter how much the purists or the supporters of the pure forms, the original varieties of a language or original variety of English, supporters of English language try to keep the language free of variations and innovations. These variations do creep into the language over a period of time. So these rules, depending on the frequency of the use of a newer rule, etc., a variation, these rules or these prescriptive rules may also change over time. There is a lot of criticism of language standards by linguists themselves as well and by other people too. One of the criticism against language standards is that language standards create a lot of discrimination. Now, how do they create discrimination? The language standards, only those people have access to language standards are able to learn these rules or learn language in the light of these prescribed rules who have access to education. The people who are poor, people who belong to minorities and have limited resources, similarly in some societies, women who have lots of limitations and do not have access to education, all these groups cannot learn these standards. And therefore, their language is not the same as the language of those who go to school, etc., obtain education, receive education, and use these standards. So in a way, it is believed that these standards create discrimination against these minority groups, poor people and women. So one solution to get rid of this discrimination, get over this discrimination, eliminate this discrimination is to broaden these rules, which means that these rules should also include the way or the variations which are used by these minority groups or poor people or the people which it is felt that they're discriminated against. So these standards need to be broadened a little to include the way or the way language is used by the other groups, so that they are not considered discriminatory. The standards are not considered discriminatory and they are broader. As you know that the process of standardization is the standardization of a language is achieved when a language goes through a certain process. This process of standardization comprises four stages: selection, codification, elaboration of functions, and acceptance. Selection is considered the most critical stage. It is considered critical because it involves certain political and social factors. So, what is important at this stage is to select a variety which is considered the standard. So, a variety which everybody looks at as the model, as the standard. But this selection, like I just said, is often led by political and social factors. Those who are politically powerful, those who are rich, socially powerful, etc., they can influence this selection of the variety. The variety that they themselves use, they would make efforts to get that variety selected as the standards. So in this way, selection, if it is not done carefully, if it is done under the influence of politically and socially powerful people, it serves the interests of the same people, the same powerful and rich people. Selection involves an existing variety with a high degree of political and social acceptance. So, the variety which has a high degree of acceptance in society, both politically and socially, can be selected as the standard variety. In some cases, different features of different varieties are also included in the standard, or the standards, I mean. Again, we have discussed earlier as well that codification involves the writing and development of grammar textbooks, style and usage guides, and dictionaries. So the purpose behind bringing out these publications is to allow access to the people, allow an easy access to the standard forms to the people who do not have access to it otherwise, who do not use the standard forms in everyday life, or who do not interact with people who use the standard forms. So we have this process of codification, which makes it easier for general people, for general public, to access these standards, rules and regulations. The third thing is the elaboration of functions. When a language has the capability to perform a wide range of functions, it increases in its prestige, especially if these functions are in the domain of government and education. That is one of the reasons English language has so much prestige in our country, Pakistan, because it is used in the domains of government and also in education. So when language policy was being made in Pakistan, the domain of functions for English language were increased to increase its prestige in the eyes of the people, or the domains in which it was being used in pre-colonial days, pre-partition days, those it continued to be used in those domains, and Urdu did not replace it. Because of the increase in the functions that a language performs, new vocabulary and conventions are added. For example, if a language has newly started being used in the court, new vocabulary will be added to it, which is relevant to the language of the court. As we see with the development of information communication technology, a lot of new vocabulary has been added to the English language, which did not exist in the English language in the past. Then the final stage is that of the acceptance of those standards. The standards which have been developed, they have to be accepted by the relevant population. The population who is supposed to use that language, they should accept those standards, should not reject them, because sometimes it happens especially when a change is being made, people often resist that change. Standardization has a paradox. On one hand, it is a symbol of our country's independence. For example, if you have a fully fledged language which is codified, in which you have textbooks, grammar, etc., it is a symbol of our country being developed culturally and in terms of education. It can also, the language standards can also act as a unifying force. For example, if in a country with a big population, different people use different varieties of the same language or different languages, this one language which has clearly developed standards, everybody can refer to those language standards for using language and for communicating with each other. So in this way, it acts as a unifying force. However, paradoxically, sometimes it also acts as a symbol of inferior status of the poor or those who use a regional or ethnic or a social dialect. So those people who do not use language standards, as we just said, that this can be taken as discriminating against certain groups. So this acts as a symbol of inferiority for those people who do not or who cannot use these language standards. Standardization of a language therefore can be challenged or questioned. For example, the standardized English is being challenged these days, that it is discriminating against the emerging varieties or the speakers of emerging varieties of English. So in this way, the standardization of English is being challenged these days, that it is rejecting all the other varieties, the varieties which use variations to the original standard English. So in this way, people are questioning the standardization of English.